everyone, this is Melissa with Whimsy Stamps, and today I'm going to be introducing the new June paper door kit called Enjoy the Journey. And I'm going to quickly show you the kit contents here so that you can see what's available in the new June kit. And first we start with some distress crayons from Ranger. There's also some twine and metal brads, as well as this beautiful stamp set that has a train and a number of beautiful sentiments on it. Also in the kit is a die set that is amazing. They're the thin wafer dies. You get 8.5 by 11 papers, and then you also get these beautiful 6 by 6 papers, and you get 3 of each, which is a lot of paper, and it enables you to make a number of card kits. The colors for these papers are very rich and luscious, and they make for some great masculine cards, but I don't think they have to be masculine. Now I'm going to be making a card today with a few papers out of this kit. Here's the card that we're going to be making, and all of the products used except for the white enamel dots that you see are from the kit. So I'm going to start with some white paper that did not come in the kit, but I'm sure you'll have white paper in your own stash. And all I'm going to do is simply stamp the train in I think the color that I use is called Medieval, and it's from Versifying Clair. It's almost a navy blue, and it matches the papers perfectly. You can get this ink at Whimsy Stamps, as well as the white enamel dots that I mentioned earlier. And I'm using my Misty, and actually I'm just going to stamp this train twice to get a very clean image. It's one of the first few times that I've actually used the train. I'm also going to be using some clear embossing powder, and you'll see me use my heat tool, and I like to do this with Versifying Clair because oftentimes if I'm stamping on a certain kind of paper, and this happens to be Bristol Smooth, the ink will smear a bit because it's such a smooth paper. Now, the distress crayons, this is one of the first times I've ever used them. I do not like to use them directly on my paper, mostly because you'll get streaks in there that you can't get out. So what you see me doing is I scribble a little bit of the crayon on an acrylic block, add some water, and then I simply paint it on. In hindsight, I think I should have added a little bit more of the blue color, because I do add a little bit more green here, you can see, and it really makes the color a little bit more bold. So if you want a softer color, just, don't use so much ink. And if you want a brighter color, go over it twice. So now I'm going to go ahead and use one of the wafer dies that come in the kit to die cut this, and I tape it down so it stays in position. And you can see how gorgeous that die cuts. I love this die, and it's nice to have layers too. So now I'm going to take the wood grain paper that comes in your kit and cut it at a 4 by 5.25 so that it can fit on an A2 size card. And you can see I already have an A2 size card base in white. And I will adhere that, but first I decided to use the next size down and use this navy blue paper with the stripes and cut that out as well. And then I'm going to layer those two pieces together. But I'd also like to make some tickets because the stamp set does come with a cute little ticket, and then the die set comes with a ticket cutter. So first I'm going to die cut two little of the tickets, and then I'm going to take the stamp that goes with the ticket and ink that up in some Versifying Clair chocolate ink. It's called Pinecone, and I will stamp that onto that craft paper that comes in the kit. It's a really pretty craft paper too. Okay, so now that I have the second ticket stamped, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of the twine that comes in the kit. Actually, you get so much twine in this kit too, you'll be able to make a number of cards from the sample that you get. Now, the way I like to add twine like this to a card that's thick is I usually just take my tape runner and adhere some tape to the back of the cardstock, and then I wrap the twine around and push it down into the tape and then cut off the excess. I like to do this because I like when the twine wraps around the cardstock, it doesn't have an unfinished edge this way. And then once I get the edges trimmed off, I take my tape runner and then go over the twine again so that I know that it's going to stay adhered to the cardstock. And I'll simply adhere this to my A2 size card base. Now, whenever I use twine like this, I also like to use foam tape because the twine kind of gives a little bit of depth depth to the card, and it has, you know, it's a little bit thicker. It's nice to add foam tape so that your main image on your card is not distorted. So what you see me doing here is adhering the 2 layers and then using the foam tape to pop up the image so that that twine doesn't make the image all distorted. I like this foam tape. This is 3M foam tape that you can find at any craft store. I like it because the backing peels off very easily. So all I'm going to do now is add this to my card base and then adhere the tickets to the card. But I also add a little bit of foam tape to the tickets because I want those to pop up as well. So first I take a small tape runner and run a little bit of adhesive across it, stick them together, run a little bit more adhesive across the back, and then I add a piece of foam tape. This adhesive is not super sticky, which is nice because I can reposition things if and when I don't like it. But once I add that foam tape to the back, that, you know, is really sticky, and then it also gives some dimension to the tickets. So now I want to make a little bow for this card using that same twine, and I'm just showing you a very simple method for making a bow. I simply make loops and then wrap a little bit of twine around the center of those loops, and now I'm going to tie them down. And you can either cut off the ends from the knot that you make in the twine, or you can leave them as decorative edges, and that's actually what I do here. So you'll see me trim off some of the ends on both, and it makes for a nice little bow, and it's very simple. You don't have to have, you know, a special bow making tool to get a cute little bow out of twine. Now the next thing I'm going to do is take these brads. I made a mistake and didn't add them before I taped everything down. So if that happens to you, all you have to do is, you can see what I'm doing. I'm taking the metal little metal pokes that are on those and breaking them off, and then you can adhere them down. Now I'm adding some white enamel dots. These are from Whimsy Stamps. It's the Christmas Cheer enamel dots, and you're going to see me mess around with kind of the positioning of these until I get it the way I want it. I still don't know if I'm entirely crazy about the white enamel dots, but to be honest with you, I felt like, you know, there was some open space, and the wood grain paper does a lot already to add to the paper, but I just felt like the white was a nice little addition in the end. So now that I've done that, I'm going to add these brad tops. I use a little bit of hot glue. I would suggest if you have something, some glue that's good for metal, you use that instead, because you can see I make quite the mess. Now, hot glue is easy to clean up. I've also used the hot glue to adhere my twine, but I realized a little too late that my video wasn't running at the time. So what you're going to see me do is just kind of clean up the hot glue that's spread out across those little brads. And then once it's cleaned up, I have a finished card. I hope you enjoyed today's paper door kit. Enjoy the journey and the card that I made, and I hope you'll join us again here at Whimsy Stamps for more tutorials and more great kits.